When one parent becomes the emotional manager of the entire family system, burnout becomes inevitable. It's going to happen. Let's talk about the imbalance, the resentment, and the exhaustion that may happen and what nobody wants to admit out loud. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Co-Parenting with Dr. Jerry. We are continuing our Creating Healthy Co-Parenting Systems series with the topic, once again, of the invisible load. Now, this is the stuff that nobody sees until you stop carrying it. Please remember that I am here to assist you and empower you to navigate the complexities of co-parenting with collaboration, clarity, and compassion. This ensures a nurturing environment that centers on the well-being of the child above all else. Now, this is the place where we have honest conversations about parenting, as honest as I can get on the internet, co-parenting, emotional wellness, and the realities that prepares us for or can prepare us for when we are parenting humans, right? Whether it's tiny humans or adults, children like myself. So in the last episode, and I want to say welcome back. If you didn't see that last episode, you might want to hop into it. We talked about the invisible load of parenting, like the mental, emotional, and unseen labor that keeps families like functioning, right? Today, we're going to go a little bit deeper, and I'm going to give you all a few strategies that you can use. In the next episode for next month, I might bring back more let's say, explicit actions that you can do. But today, I wanted to make this kind of short. This is literally could be a whole full day learning for somebody. Or for parents. So I'm going to try to do it over several episodes. But today we're going to go a little bit deeper into how this shows up in co-parenting because the invisible load becomes even heavier, like when parenting responsibilities are divided across two households, especially when let's just say communication is not that good. Okay. When maturity, this is the best way I can say it. When maturity, emotionally or mentally, is uneven or unbalanced, and even when, or especially when, one parent has to become the manager of the whole system of co-parenting, right? And it's not a partnership. It should be a partnership. That role in addition to everything else that you have to do in your life can become exhausting. Like like overly exhausting. And in many co-parenting relationships, one parent quietly, just real quietly, typically becomes responsible for managing an entire family ecosystem until they die. Let's just say until they know. So, in that, they're not just parenting the child, like you are managing logistics, you're managing communication, you're managing emotions and the fallout of them, schedules, misunderstandings, or arguments. It's crazy. Like, think about that. Like in the scope of your whole life, you manage things, you lead things. Think about doing that at work every day. Like I think about it with me as a school principal or even as a teacher with 20, 30 kids in a classroom and all the parents I got to deal with. And then I have to come home and manage too. Oh my God. I mean, when I say you honestly become like the calendar, you become the organizer, you become the conflict preventer, you know, the consistency keeper. Woo, you talking about overload. You begin to feel psychologically like alone. Like I'm carrying this thing all by myself. And that is heavy. Like the emotional toll that it takes on you is heavy. I'm sure I am describing this for somebody out there. And the part that people don't want to talk about, let's talk about the part that people don't want to talk about, is resentment. It can happen in a co-parenting situation with two households. It can happen in a marriage with two people that are parenting in one household. You are still co-parenting. And that resentment often builds quietly. It grows quietly. It can come from anything. It can come from one parent always feeling like, I have to follow up. I have to clarify. I have to remind. I have to clean up. They have to overfunction for everybody. And I told this story in the last episode, like I eventually, when my daughter got in college, I told her, I had to tell her, I cannot keep track of your calendar and mine. I cannot do that. We are not in the same household. We are not around each other every day. If you tell me you have an event or something like that, if you don't put it on my calendar yourself, I can't promise you that I'm going to put it on my calendar. I have this going on over here. You have that life going on over there. Same thing can be for two adults living in a household together or separately. Okay. If we don't check in with each other to clarify and things like that, everybody goes off on their own and does their own thing. I cannot hold all of that in my brain and take care of what I need to take care of on a daily basis either. And the problem is that a lot of us get stuck in survival mode for so long. And let me tell you what that so let me tell you what that might look like or sound like. It might sound like if I don't do it, it won't get done. I hear that from mothers all the time. Married mothers, situationship mothers, boyfriend, girlfriend mothers. Okay. So they overfunction. They do everything. They carry everything. I hear it from guys too, that are very involved in their relationships or in their marriages. They want to fix everything. You cannot. You can't hold that all on your shoulder. But eventually, that overfunctioning, it's not sustainable. It's just unsustainable. It's not going to happen because human beings, we are human being. Okay. We are humans being. Cannot carry things, remember everything, fix everything. And it's not just responsibility. It's not just the responsibility. The truth is that some people they stay under involved because someone else keeps compensating for the gaps. They keep enabling that person. And people are gonna stay uninvolved. Like I can just sit back and you can do everything. Like, why wouldn't I let you do everything? Kids will do the same thing. Why wouldn't I just let you do everything if you're not telling me that I don't have to or that I have to do something? Now, that doesn't mean that you stop caring for your child or for, anybody else, but it does mean, and we talked about this before, boundaries matter. Systems matter. Shared accountability matters. You matter. Okay? Do not let people continuously stay under involved in things and not taking responsibility for things because you keep compensating and enabling it. I have told people that before. You cannot enable, especially grown people. I'm going to tear myself down because you don't want to do something. Like, I'm going to wear myself out because you don't do anything. Heck no. We're going to have to find a different way to do this thing. Because I can only do what I can do in my wheelhouse and within my power, within my locus of control. And whatever can't get done, just won't get done. Your brain should not function as the family operating system. So this is how, let me give you a few things that you can do to reduce the load that you have taken on for yourself. And it's hard for us to get out of this. It is a journey. It is not a destination, guys. This is a journey because if we have been over functioning, overdoing for so long, it is very difficult and we feel guilty for what I call pulling back and doing what we actually can do that is realistic and that will not overwhelm us. So the first thing I would say you need to do is stop carrying everything in your head. Everything cannot live in here. Your brain can only take so much information in at one time and remember it over a course of time. Your brain should not function once again either as the operating system for your family. You need to use some shared calendars or write some schedules out and make sure that you have some type of communication app or some way of communication that you have deemed is consistent, excuse me, with your co-parents. Consistent for you. Because for some people, for some co-parents, they want to talk to their co-parent, especially when a child is young, every week or every few days or whatever. My thing was with my ex-husband, I'm not talking to my ex-husband if my daughter is not with him. Unless there's an emergency or something that she actually needs when she's going to be with him, I don't have anything else to talk to him about. Because all we really talk about is our child. And we don't have a bad relationship. Like now, we still just call each other if it's something about our daughter or if it's something like if someone passed away in the family or something like that. Things that we need to know. Not no nice to know stuff. Okay? So stop carrying everything in your head and get some systems, some calendars, some schedules, some apps together for communication. The second thing I would say is normalize naming your emotional labor. Okay? You can't solve problems that nobody wants to acknowledge. If you have tried to talk to someone about a problem with your relationship or your friendship or your whatever, okay, and nobody wants to acknowledge it, can you really solve that problem? If you want to look at it, you can solve it as, you can look at it as I'm solving it by just leaving it alone and letting it be what it is, or I'm solving it by disconnecting from that person or that issue. I mean, but it takes two, at least two, to solve a problem that's between you and someone else, or you and the family, or what have you. Just normalize naming that I can't solve that problem. I need to let it go. That is not, and like I said before, I have had to tell people, you are not my assignment. You are not my assignment. So I have to let that go. And somebody else's emergency, if somebody comes to you with an emergency, doesn't, I mean, somebody else's, let's say, lack of planning. I typically say this. Somebody else's lack of planning does not have to necessarily be an emergency on your part. Just because they didn't take care of something, or something happened with their car or whatever, and now they need you to pick them up and this, and that. You at work and it's like, I can't do that right now. Can you catch an Uber or something like that? Like, somebody else's issue does not always have to be yours. Let's normalize naming that, because that type of emotional labor we do not have to take on. Okay? So stop carrying things in your head. Normalize naming the emotional labor. The next one would be creating clear expectations. And we've talked about this before. Let's just say if a person doesn't know the purpose of a thing, they are bound to misuse it. So we have undefined like responsibilities, and we don't know who does what or why they're doing that. You create confusion. In turn, you create confusion, you create resentment. So we need to, people say, well, I'm just going into this relationship. I'm just going into this with no expectations. You need to stop that. I'm sorry. Your expectations can be high. People say you don't rise to low expectations and this, and that. You know what? You putting all that emotional stress on yourself with these high expectations of somebody who has proven to you, or some people who have proven to you that just ain't them. When you see that they are not able to handle certain responsibilities or certain expectations, that's a conversation of where do I need to meet you? Because some people, you just need to meet them where they are and let it go. You know what, guys? I have that tattoo right here. Let it be. Let it be. I had to put that there so I can see it every day in the mirror. Because for me and my brain, it's very difficult for me to let things be, because I feel like I can do something about it, right? With some people in some situations, I'm telling you right now, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Create the clear expectations. They rise to them, great. They don't, where can I meet you? The next thing you can do is stop glorifying burnout. Why do we think us being exhausted, our calendar being filled, every minute of our day being filled, us running around doing XYZ, just to be considered a good parent? Why, why do we think that's a requirement? It is not. And being burnt out and tired all the time, how does that benefit your child and your relationship with your child? If y'all ain't never spending time together, but they always at these activities or doing stuff, or y'all out shopping, or y'all doing this, and I mean, if you feel like that's your spending time together, that's fine. But when are you actually talking to your child, or just sitting and being with your child? When does your child ever get a chance to know what slowing down is and actually enjoying what's around them? Let's stop glorifying the fact that we are here, there, and everywhere. And actually, we're exhausted because of it. The last thing is, it goes right into that. Give yourself permission to be human. Not every task is urgent. Like, just let's rewind to what I said. A lack of planning on someone else's or your part does not necessitate that it's an emergency. Or if something just pops up, how do we in our minds separate it into urgent and it can really wait? Not every problem that comes up is yours to solve immediately. Sometimes thinking, being quiet, and waiting, giving it time, can actually solve the problem. For example, a text that's sent to you, you read it and you're like, what's that supposed to mean? You know, could it be that at that time you're stressed and you're taking it a certain way and it's not meant that way? It wasn't intended that way. Or could it be that it is that way and this person is trying to just get a rise out of you, because that energy transference is real, whether you want to believe in energy or not. Some people do things and say things just to get a rise out of you, and then they skip off and they happy as a lark because they didn't made you upset. Some people they want to get a rise out of you. There's a lot of miserable people that want you to be miserable with them. So if there is a problem that arises, you need to think to yourself, do I need to solve this right now? I even ask the question sometimes, does this need to be taken care of right now? Or can this be done later? And sometimes people will say, well, it needs to be done right now. That's because it's urgent to them. It doesn't have to be urgent to you. And you can let them know that I need to do X, Y, and Z before I take care of this. Hopefully that's okay with you. It's going to get taken care of. It's just like asking a man sometimes, I'm just going to be honest, to take out the trash. If men don't work on their own time, y'all, I don't know who does. Okay? If you do not say, I need this done by X, Y, and Z, can you do that for me? In other words, can you do that for me? Or I'm going to do it myself. Like one or the other. Like, they will do stuff on their own time and it will drive you mad. And I'm saying it from experience. And I know y'all understand that. I know y'all understand that. So give yourself permission to be human. Not everything needs to be done right then and there, including taking out the trash. Sometimes we just want to take it out because we're tired of looking at it. It's not smelling or anything. And they thinking, I'll do it a little bit later. Like, I'll let it get filled up a little bit more and then I'll take it out. Maybe it's not, it doesn't need to be solved right then. So not every task is urgent. Sometimes things can sit for a second and then you get to them. So I went into some practical ways to reduce the load that you have. Let's go back through them. Stop carrying everything in your head. Use calendars, schedules, communication apps. Normalize naming the emotional labor. You can't, if nobody acknowledges it, then you can't solve it. You need to talk to somebody about it. If it can't get solved, then leave it alone. Create clear expectations for everybody. That does not mean you always have to have the super high expectations for people. That does not mean you have to have expectations of anything. These first dates that I see people go on, and then they have all these expectations of you got to take me here or you got to take me. Y'all need to stop. That is the most irritating stuff I have ever heard in my life. I will use some other words, but I'm trying to be nice. Stop with these high expectations of people you don't even know that are trying to get to know you, and you're creating a bad impression. I'm not saying you shouldn't have any expectations of respect and the normal things that you would want from someone. Just basic respect as a human being. Maybe you want them to pick you up rather than you meeting them somewhere. I mean, maybe you want to meet them somewhere. Your expectation is to meet them somewhere rather than you're picking up. Those make sense. But all this stuff about spending money, this amount of money on a first date, and you can't take me here on the first, y'all need to stop. Once again, creates confusion and creates resentment from the beginning. You are setting a foundation of confusion and resentment for this man or this woman from the beginning. Stop with that stuff. Create the clear expectations of basic human decency. In your co-parenting relationship, parenting relationship, situationship, whatever, dating relationship, create clear expectations. And if they are high expectations and they are off the wall, then don't expect somebody to want to deal with you. That's all I'm going to say. I went off top. The next one is stop glorifying burnout, because exhaustion is not a sign of a good parent. And then give yourself permission to be human. Not everything needs to be solved right then and there. Now, if this episode spoke to you, I hope you take one thing away from today. What I'm going to do in the next episode or two is I'm going to go through a little bit deeper, some strategies that go along with these, some actions that go along with these strategies, because I think that people need to understand how these possibly look, because I wasn't able to go into them today. I'm trying to keep the episodes to 30 minutes. So, you're not sitting on here all day, because I could teach a whole probably course on this. I haven't done it yet, but I could. So remember, please, that you were never meant to carry everything alone. We are human beings. We are social beings. We want support. We want a circle. There is nothing wrong with that. We were not meant to carry everything alone. If God gave Adam a helpmate, then that means we're supposed to have some, whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it is a significant other. The invisible load that we carry is real. The emotional labor is real. The burnout is real. We're seeing it. The crash out is real. And healing begins when we stop pretending. Excuse me. When we stop pretending that the consistent and chronic exhaustion that we have is normal. It's not normal, y'all. That may be something that people are trying to tell you, that it's okay. You're supposed to be exhausted. I sleep when I'm dead, all this type of stuff. Yeah. If you don't get sleep for a day or two, if you don't get enough sleep, you walking around here basically like you drank 2-3 bottles of wine or 2-3 bottles of liquor. and then you driving and you out here. It's not good for anybody. So please, please, please use this episode for yourself or send this episode to a parent that you know that might be just silently carrying more than people realize. This will let them know that you recognize and you see them if you send this to them. And then they will know that they are not alone. Okay? Support should not be a luxury when you are parenting. This should be the standard. And if you are having a child with someone, do not act like you are doing somebody a favor by taking care of your child. Are you freaking kidding me? Give me a break. Once again, I will use some other words, but I'm trying to be nice. That has to be the stupid. There is no way you should be creating a life with someone. You decided to do all of this. These were your decisions. You are creating a life with someone. Everybody talking about something. I want to see my seed. I want to. Da, da, da. Well, then you need to take care of it when it flourishes. When it becomes a flower or a human being, you need to take care of it. Don't walk around here like you doing somebody a favor with taking care of your child. That is your responsibility. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. That means you shouldn't be having a kid. Just go get fixed. Woman or male, just go get fixed if you don't want to have kids. We have the opportunity and the ways to do that nowadays. Right now, we do. All right. So let me get off my soapbox. And remember, you guys, that support should not be a luxury in parenting. That should be the standard. So please let someone know that you see them by sending them this episode. And next time, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into how those strategies look with some more actions that you can take, specific actions. I'll be sure to do that you can take to lighten this invisible load that you are carrying. Of course, it's going to take some things on your part to be able to do it. If you are dealing with a parent, another co-parent that is not, cooperative, let's say, hopefully we can get them to move to the other side of at least doing one of these things with you so that your child can benefit. It has nothing to do with you. And you can tell them that it has nothing to do with me and what you're doing for me. It has everything to do with how this affects and will help our child and support our child. Okay, it also shows them how to work with people when relationships don't work out, but even if you're in the same house, when we're going through some things in the house or whatever, we're still working together for your good. But I will see you guys next time. And always, as always, I will say go out there and co-parent with a purpose. I'll see you guys later.